Welcome back. You're now watching the lifestyle segment on The Weekend Show. My name is Andy Madaki.
And I'm Edidium Frank.
Last week, all over the news, people from across the world got to know about a place called Yawata in Benue State because the Pope also prayed for the people of Benue State, where it was reported that over 200 people were killed. But just before that, over the last couple of years, in the last 6 to 8 years, several communities in Benue State have been displaced as a result of what we have refused to name as a country, because in some cases it is called the farmer header crisis, in other cases they're called bandits, and now we're hearing that some of these have political undertones. If you go to some local governments in Benue State, you have villages where they are completely empty. And I say this not just as an assumption, but as someone who is from Benue State, from someone who is constantly calling people to find out, hope everyone is okay. Now, the interesting thing to note is that these are not just numbers. These are people's fathers, brothers, sisters, friends, siblings. And each time we just have numbers on the screen and then people move on. Did we have to wait for the Pope to talk about this? Or did the world or Nigerians have to wait for Very Dark Man to go to Makodi to highlight this? We'll be having this conversation on the lifestyle and political segment today. And joining us we have
Comrade Sasek Dishix, who is the DG North Central Progressive Patriots. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks.
We also have Honorable Daniel Edoache, who is a political and rights activist, former chairman Benue State Councillors Forum. Good morning.
Good
It's
morning.
good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
gentlemen. Welcome to the weekend show.
Thank you very much.
And I'll start with you because I see you have the apparel there,
Yes.
cap on. From your perspective, what exactly is going on in Benue State?
Well, like you can see, APA is like the entire senatorial district of Benue South. And what is happening right now in the state is no longer new to us. It has become occasional, and that is the terrorism that is going on in Benue State. Not just terrorism, but genocide, ethnic genocide by some religious ideologists. And then, should I call them Boko Haram, call them bandits, call them non-actors, non-state actors, or call them whatever name. But the fact is that it has three angles. One of the angles, like I said, and like everybody who saw the killings and who have witnessed the killings in Benue State, all over Benue, maybe like 2 local governments that are exception, you will conclude, of course, that this is not just terrorist act, but an ideology of religious expansionists. Now, if you look at the manner at which they come with the headers. They send the headers first to graze openly on people's farms, to encroach lands that doesn't belong to them. Even if we know that the ECOWAS Pact gave freedom of movement, or freedom of businesses for citizens and indigents. If your business will kill humans, will kill the same citizens, will annihilate infants, sucklings, pregnant women, to me, that is business of warfare. So these guys brought war into Benue. We never invited them for this war. We never provoked them in Benue. And we need to call it as it is. There is no blame game in this ugly, heinous crime that is going on in Benue State. Because if we do that, then we are not governing, or we are not trying to protect lives and properties in the state. Neither are we even trying to prevent or defend the people. So The people of Benue, as it is, are very, very helpless. Like you said, it took very dark man and the Pope to alarm the killings. If not, you will see political bureaucracy, which is the second angle, where they are even saying the numbers that were killed are few, or gagging the media from reporting the actual scenario, actual event. So the failure of intelligence also, because when you see the military coming out to say that the headers were, the killers or the terrorists were harbored within the city, within Yelwata, before they went out to attack, if you had this intelligence prior to that attack, why don't you protect the attack? So, and if the attacks have been happening in Guma, in Apa, in Agatu, in Okpoku, in Otukpo, we even visited so many scenes where you will see dead bodies littered in the villages, like Ankpali in Apa local government. No one person is living there again. You will just see animals roaming about. When we went there with the military, I have all the videos to see, to ascertain for ourselves what happened there. No single individual is living there. And so the terrorists, they will chase you out, come to dwell there with their wives, with their children, and begin to graze openly. And we have what we call anti-open grazing law in Benue during the Autumn administration. You may want to ask, why was that law repealed under the administration of Governor Alia? Why was it relaxed? Why was the livestock guard disbanded? At first, he even accused the livestock guard of complicity in rustling animals. Let me even assume that, yes, there were animal rustling. And so, if you rustle animal, you just sat, and animals do not come from anywhere, and you rustle them. Animals encroaches people's land, eat people's crops, perennial and annual crops. These are peasant farmers and subsistence farmers. And when you report to the police, nothing is done. If you report to the authority, nothing is done. And people feel like, okay, do we take laws into our hands if there is no protection from the government, if there is no prevention from the government, if the government is even giving it a political coloration for not hitting the nails as of the exact thing that is happening in Benue State? So it is very terrible. That is the political angle. And again, to add to the political angle is the fact that most of these leaders have compromised. They compromise not only the lives of their people, the properties of their people, they compromise the essence of governance in the state. Because I can't fathom where even 10 persons will be killed and the government will look like it's not even aware. And even if it's aware, he will say they are foreigners, or they are people sponsoring from the National Assembly, or that is a little skirmishes here and there. This is a government that we voted for, and we want them to protect our lives, to defend our lives. In fact, if there has been any governor in the history of Benue State that got overwhelming vote from the people, it should be Governor Alia. And Governor Alia is not our enemies. He's not our enemy per se. He's our governor that we all went out massively to vote for. And therefore, we can speak to him that he should own up to what is going on in Benue and be accountable to the people and defend our lives and protect us. We have that right. We have that right in the Constitution. And so where you come and say Benue is peaceful and Benue farmers are producing and there are little skirmishes here and there and that you are handling them, if you are handling those things, why would lives be lost in this manner? Why would the herdsmen, the attackers, even have the audacity to graze openly? Okay, when you disbanded the livestock guard, you brought another nomenclature called civil guard. Now the civil guard, they are very few in number. They can't be everywhere. And so you are not even training the youth of the state in defense mechanism. Thank God the military have promised that, but they should do it soon. So why disbanding this structure, security structure that was in place, and the anti-open grazing law that was in place, that was at least preventing this type of heinous crimes? Why? That is the complicity and the compromise we are talking about.
Okay, let's bring.
I want to bring in Comrade to the conversation. Thank you very much. Comrade, earlier, Andy mentioned the numbers that have been quoted of lives lost. And sometimes we see these numbers and just see them as figures in the news. Do you think people truly understand the human cost, the gravity in this situation, what happened in Benue?
Well, I came here with very heavy heart because I was in Benue State. I witnessed firsthand what happened, and I can tell you, I also want to use this opportunity to charge the media, because you should beam your searchlight to bring up to speed the information that the public needs. Somehow, sometimes we in the political environment, we try to be politically correct, and that's why the contestation about figures comes in. I've seen the level of damage, let me say carnage, because for someone who is a student of history, these attacks, it has been an occurrence that on a daily basis, people wake up in anguish and fear. It's been happening over the decades. And for someone who is from that part of the country and aware of how this whole thing started, we should call it what it is. This is not clashes, okay? People are attacked unprovoked. And people try to give you all sorts of names and try to dodge the right word or adjective ought to be used in order to give the public the right information about what's happening to Benue. Of course, I appreciate the word over for standing with us in a moment of sorrow. I want to also particularly thank Very Dark Man for taking the bold step. He's a young man doing well for the country. And we, at all levels, should hold our governments accountable. People come up with all sorts of narrative. I want to start from the point of the president's visit. When the president visited our state, I was also there to have the first-hand knowledge of what's going to happen. First, our paramount ruler, the Totiv, who is the leader of the thieves worldwide, spoke, and I think he did well. All the people of Benue are proud of what he did. He highlighted his activities in 4 areas. He started by appreciation, followed by apprehension, and then assurance, and of course, he gave his words of encouragement. One, if you're talking about this tax, this has been there. Governments upon governments come and inherit these issues. What are those measures taken? I expected, that's my opinion. You hear people coming up with different narratives, like the military, like you said, that say that our people harbor these guys. If you have military intelligence, this is talking about securing Nigeria. It's not just about Benue or a community, yet water as it is. Your responsibility is to secure lives and properties, and this falls under the presidency. Why I don't like shifting blames, basically, is because I have knowledge of governance and how the Constitution operates. We have a faulty Constitution that empowers the presidency or the president so much such that he gives orders to security situations in every part of Nigeria. The governor is just merely decorated chief security officer of the state without the executive powers to even command the police. I'll give you an instance. It was in this country some years back that a commissioner of police, I take responsibility for this, so your channel is not accused of promoting such sentiments, but it is something well known. To tell you how the governors are helpless in some instances, a commissioner of police some years back, with the instrument of federal might, operated in Rivers State as if he was the chief security officer of the state. This talking about Rotimi Amechi's administration, that Joseph Mbu was the commissioner, and at some point he was even prevented from leaving the government house. People try to excuse this, that, oh, the president cannot be everywhere. The president cannot be everywhere. The president is the highest political office holder in Nigeria that is voted everywhere, right? If the president cannot be everywhere, what's now the responsibility of having everybody vote the president. It is because you have confidence that such a person will come and right the wrongs of yesterday. Yes, I appreciate the president for the bold steps taken. He visited my state. He gave words of encouragement and giving assurance that he was going to act, and he charged the security agencies. He called out the IGP. He asked why the criminals are not arrested with the information gathered and intelligence. So I would expect that going forward, this issue of shifting blame should not be the way forward, because as a people we are dealing with a very serious situation. The person in Nasarawa State or the person in Delta State should not feel relaxed that it's happening to Benue. For crying out loud, we are talking about a serious genocide that claimed the lives of almost 200 persons. People were burnt alive. My heart bleeds. I've seen children of 3, 4, 5 years burnt in that attack. What was their offense? Even in the laws of war, women and children are spared. But in this case, it was a complete massacre. And then even the media, instead of report this the way it ought to, you see media houses, sometimes this news is not even verified. You see people reporting that clashes between herders and farmers. Come on, that is insulting to the sensibilities of the Benue people. Because you're not doing right by us, I mean the media. I'm not holding AIT accountable, but I'm generalizing because I expect that you do more to give the world the right information, to know that we're dealing with a very serious issue that should not be trivialized. I was there. I've seen something that, since I became an adult, I have not witnessed such a damage. A whole community burnt down.
And not just one.
Not just one. Livelihoods destroyed. Infants killed. Pregnant women butchered. This is happening to my people. What's my essence of participation in government or governance? I do so because I believe that's the only way I can be of service to the people. Now, it is happening to my state, and because I want to be correct, politically correct, I should come here and start mincing words or sugarcoating things. Hey, I refuse to do that. And this is calling on the world that Benue is under serious attacks. And we are trying to link this with what happened before now. It's on record. In the 18th century, when we had the jihadist attack, between 1804 and 1817, it was the thief that repaired the jihadist attack around the Shongu Hills. I feel this is a reprisal attack. These guys are coming back for revenge. And it is a matter the security agencies to treat with all seriousness that is required. We should stop pampering words and trying to, yes, we can cohabit together. We can live together as a people. People talk about right to freedom of movement and association. If your right to move freely, it's impeding my own right to live peacefully, then it becomes an anarchy. Because you are coming to my place, in as much as the Constitution allows you the right to move freely, it shouldn't be at the detriment of my own safety. And now, you say we need each other to live together, like the farmer needs the herder. The farmer needs the herder needs the farmer. But this should be done in a very civil manner, sorry. Because you cannot come to my place unannounced. These are private businesses. As a farmer, I am farming on my own piece of land. As a herder, you're grazing on which land? Which land? What business do you have coming to graze openly in my place, as if we co-own this piece of land? So these are the issues that we should begin to look into, other than try to bring in the sentiment that, okay, as a people, as Nigerians, we should live together. Yes, there's nobody saying no to living together or seeing each other as brothers and sisters. But in doing so, what is the respect for the dignity of human life?
So we've just seen reports just a couple of minutes ago on Daily Post saying 48 hours after President Tinubu's visit to Benue, the village of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Ahmed's village, has been attacked by herdsmen. Now this has happened over the last 24 hours. For Nigerians, what confidence should they have in law enforcement if the president, the chief of defense staff, the IG of police were all in Benue State on Wednesday, and on Friday there's another attack. Do you think it's as a result of the fact that they claim some people have been arrested, some have been prosecuted, but nobody can identify who these people are and what's being done? Do you think that's what has emboldened this headsman? Because if 48 hours after the president visited Benue State, there's still another attack. So what do we do?
I think we are getting to that stage. I pray we don't get to that stage that the whole country will be thrown into a state of anarchy, that citizens are at liberty to rise to self-defense, because that's the tone, the undertone that we see from these attacks, because our lives are entrusted in the hands of the security agencies that are funded and taking care of our taxpayers' money. So the responsibility is solely on them, but in the event the citizen becomes helpless, I think we are gradually edging towards that, but I hope we don't get to that stage, because I speak as an individual who is also pained and values his life and safety with aspiration and ambitions yet achieved. So in order to live up to that day that I want to do a whole lot for myself, my community, and the people, first of all, even when you talk about the Constitution, the fourth charter that talks about the human rights, it first starts with the right to life, okay, as contained in Section 33. It's when you are alive that you can be able to promote this peace and unity that we talk about as a people. We aspire to live together peacefully. But in the event this is becoming confusion, that on the basis of, okay, live together with your neighbor, even as the Bible so says, do we do that when lives are lost? So I'm advising, it's the question, the conversation about having state police has been on for some time. Yes, for some of us, we've been apprehensive because as political actors, we've seen how people are power drunk. The fear of, okay, the subnationals will hijack that opportunity to oppress opponents, that we cannot wish away. We see that as a factor to be worried about. But in a situation like this, human lives are lost. We're talking about lives involved. So I think the time has come for us to once again sit together and chart the way forward, because to me, I believe we are operating a very faulty document called the Constitution, because the Constitution makes every other person handicapped. In as much as we appreciate the enormous powers the office of the President of Nigeria being the biggest black race controls, there should be limits to what the subnationals can also do, because they also have mandate.
Thank
To serve
you
the people.
very much. We'll let you have the final word because we're running
Yes,
out.
I have another angle to it as a solution from the Constitution. We notice some level of occupation, and this occupation, they go after, this is the third angle to it, apart from the religious, the political, talking about the economic angle to it now. These guys sometimes, when they move about, it's like they have some geological tools. They go to the forest or to your farm if they discover mineral resources. They come to that village, wipe everybody away, and they start mining those things illegally. And when they are mining, you may discover that you don't know how they ship them. Even some of them that the police arrested that testified that they were brought in to come and mine mineral resources. And that when they came, they now offered them guns. Now, constitutionally, if state cannot control their mineral resources, and it has to be the onus of the federal government, I think it impedes on the sovereignty or an entity of the statehood. That mineral resources will be in your land, people build houses and industries upon mineral resources, and some certain group of people are the only ones that have ideas about the locations of these mineral resources. And if they have to come and mine these things, They may not even take permission or legal means of doing it so that the state can even have the 13% derivation as promised or enshrined in the Constitution. They take everything. And if you don't allow them to take everything, they massacre everybody and stay there. And then you'll be seeing helicopters coming either to take those mineral resources, or you see trailer loads of mineral resources passing, and you don't even know where they are taking these things to. That is the angle the Nigerian government should be aware of. Because this intelligence gathering, like you said, that 48 hours after, they have gone to unleash mayhem in the home of the SGF. And I think the SGF now will begin to see that what we have been saying before are true. Because in the past, he too was like saying it's political, the killing. At one time, I will not be fair to any of them because these are realities. During the administration of Otom, like I said, though they are together, they are good friends, but you heard them say it is political killing. Now they have come to believe that this is terrorism. And now that they have come to believe that this is terrorism, who are those bringing the terror? They are dodging away from the religious and the jihadist aspect of it. Now, if terrorists come from even the Sahel region or from the far north in the name of Boko Haram, in the name of bandits, or in the name of anything, what ideology brought them to the state to massacre people? And this is not only Benue State, talking about Plateau State, and you see some targeted state in the Middle Belt, which is like an empire that must be conquered. So, like the tortoise said, is a conquest too. So what should the federal government do? What should the military do? What did they do to Boko Haram when they started? They named them, they proscribed them terrorists. What did they do to IPOB? The Southeastern IPOB? What did they do to them? They proscribed them as terrorists. And the killings were not even as much as what is happening in Benue Plateau. So what is wrong if the president proscribed the marauding herdsmen as terrorists? You heard the governor. He said the normal Fulani men will come and farm, they don't have problem. But when their animals are touched, they import their terrorist brothers, those that carries arm. You all watched him. So if people can carry arm because an animal dies and there is no law enforcement agency to handle this kind of case, and then you have to massacre a whole village, ransack them painfully, infants, sucklings, slit their throat, pregnant women stab their stomach, remove their babies and still kill them. What kind of heinous crime is this? In first world country, would there be government or any political party activity if such crime, such killing happened?
Gentlemen, this is a very emotional conversation, and rightly so, because this affects every single person. And for other people who feel unbothered because it's not affecting their communities, if we don't stop this, it's going to continue to evolve. Unfortunately, because of time, that's the much we can take on this segment, but we will continue having this conversation on the political segment of the weekend show. Don't go away. We'll see you after this break.